So if I just tell you that I have to come to the WD report entry, my cursor has to come to the WD report entry. So the normal way is that it would go from top WD report data. Then it would go to the WD entry. But in here in the for each loop, if you see, we have just defined WD report entry and not WD report data / WD report entry. Why? Because if you see, there is a template getting opened and closed, and the for loop is inside my template. So that means I have already asked. That is the benefit of using the template. So I have asked my template match here to already match it until here. So I am already being matched. My cursor is already inside WD report data. So that's why it is only I just need to enter or present the path, which is bare minimum. So the bare minimum is right. After the WD report data and getting ended, my WD report entry is getting started. So that's why, had I not be using a template function, then I would have in the for each I would have to give the complete XPath, which would be WD report and WD report entry. So the for each is helping me perform the repetitions on the WD report entry. That many report entries are there. That means that many employees are there in my output file. So I am repeating the WD report entry, and every element or every attribute of the worker which I am using in there is all defined inside this loop, because my cursor will go and enter inside this loop, then start processing each and every data here, here, here. And then, when my last data is finished, it will go and again call the line feed function, which will again create a line break and go me to the next line for the next worker. Then again the loop will go here, normal looping concept. So it will keep looping until it finds the last WD report entry. So everything here, the declaration of my variables, declaration of my elements, are all inside this report entry loop. Now I'll start processing my data. So XSL, same value of select function I'm using here. I want to define what value I want. So I want the value of my employee ID field, because my first header is employee ID. So I want the first value to be my employee ID, which will be written below the employee ID field. So again, WD employee ID. So if you go here in the XPath, if I want to write down the complete XPath, then what will be the XPath for the employee ID? It would actually be WD report data, then WD report entry, and then, inside the WD report entry, WD employee ID. But in here, if you would see that I'm only giving value of select WD employee ID and not the above two. Why? Because this thing, template match, has already done my job by matching the template up until report data. Then the rest of the thing was did by my for loop, because I'm already looping in my for loop until WD report entry. So my cursor knows I'm getting repeated on WD report entry. So my cursor is already inside WD report entry. So now if I just give WD employee ID, so it's like the same, if you are on a street already, then if you just need to find the house number, you would just go and find the house number. But you are, if not on the right, it's street itself, and I'll tell you, okay, you just need to go to house number 4324. Then you would ask me that what street I want to be? So if it is like you are entering, and this is like entering an area, then this is like entering the street, and this is like finding the actual house numbers. So if you already know this, then you don't need this file. You are going on the streets. Now you're on the street, then it's just the house numbers. So I have given the XPath until here. WD report entry. WD report employee ID data. And then this would process my employee ID data for first employee. And then, since my file is pipe delimited, I'm going to insert a pipe after my first employee's first header, which is employee ID. So this is how I'm using the Accessor text function, and in the text function's value, I'm passing a pipe here. And then, after the pipe, I'll process the second element, which is my department, so WD department. Then again separator pipe. I'll use the separator in each of after each and every value, unless I am at the very last value, because after that I don't want to the delimiter, because I just want the line break after that, because the last column I have reached. So until hire date I'll use this, and after hire date, because this is my last field. So after last field, I don't want any delimiter, I just want my line break. So I have called my line break here so that it will go to the now after processing first employee. It will go to the next line again. Every employee will be executed and all. So this is how your accessibility works, and how you attach your accessibility to your AB is so. AB uses your native accessibility. So native accessibility. When we learn the core network, or you will understand about the document transformation, and the document transformation is little more advanced, which is using the core connector. Advanced in the sense that it uses some more inbuilt functions which are quite handy. So that's why those functions are only available in the document transformation and not here in the native accessibility. So we use native accessibility with the EIBs, and then we use the document transformation for the core connectors. So I'll just go with my interest. So right now we are at the custom report transformation. So we will just change it. So we will go to our custom report interface. Then we go to the edit. We're going to change our transformation first. So I'll go to transform section. I'll change it from custom report transformation to custom transformation, wherein I would need to attach my accessibility here. Now, the accessibility attachment is not direct and there is a subtask associated with it. It's like kind of a placeholder that you have. So how do you create the placeholder via task? It's just like a task, which is there to create your accessibility placeholder, which is called as create accessibility. Create accessibility attachment transformation. So you give some name to it. Maybe you can give the same name as your integration. And then you go to your file, locally that file that you have prepared. You will just apply the file here. So now I have created the placeholder. Now I'll go here and call my placeholder. Spelling. This is my placeholder, which I have called. If you just open it from here, you'll be at the same place where you were. It even attaching the accessibility. And let's say you now want to enhance your accessibility because new fields have been added in the custom report and now those fields need to be catered into the accessibility as well. So you would come here. And then you can modify. So every time accessibility has to be updated locally. Workday does not allow the editing of accessibilities inside the tenant. So you have to work on the accessibility outside of your tenant local computer. You update it whatever you want to do, and then go to this. You can come to the EIB as well from it. So just EIB allow you to open this definition. You then, after opening, you go here, you edit. And then you delete the. Maybe it's a good practice to take the backup of the last accessibility which was used, and then, anyways, before deleting, you can just click on it. So it will be automatically downloaded to your local system. Let's say you were working on this as a change, and previously you were not given who originally created this integration.